Hey there. So if you're tuning in, I'm guessing you're pretty interested in education, maybe even a teacher yourself.
Yeah.
Well, get ready because we're going deep on a topic that's been a hot one for decades now, teacher quality.
Hmm.
And it all kind of goes back to this really important report, A Nation at Risk,
Right.
which just turned 40 this year.
Wow.
It basically raised this huge red flag about American education. And guess what one of the biggest worries was?
Teacher quality.
You got it, teacher quality.
It's so interesting, though, that so many of the things they talked about back then in A Nation at Risk are still, super relevant today.
Right.
We're still figuring out how to get awesome teachers, how to train them right, and how to support them so they can actually be effective.
Totally. And it's not about blaming anyone, right?
Right.
Teaching is a tough job. We all know that.
Yeah.
We're not here to put teachers down or anything.
Yeah.
But instead, we're going to really dig into some actual recommendations from a real expert, Dr. Howie Knoff. He's the president of Project Achieve Educational Solutions.
Yeah.
And he just wrote this blog post where he revisited the A Nation at Risk report.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to break down all his ideas on how to find and keep those amazing teachers that we all want for our kids.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about this.
Me too. Me too.
So one of Dr. Knopf's main arguments is that, good teachers aren't just about checking boxes on an evaluation form.
Right.
It's about making sure that our kids have the skills they need to actually succeed in the real world. Not just, good grades, but also things like being able to, work with others or manage their emotions,
Yes, those social emotional skills,
Yeah,
right?
I got it.
That's the key.
Yeah.
It's not just about academics.
Yeah, totally.
It's about the whole package.
Right.
Preparing them for life.
Right. Like how to be a good human in the world.
Absolutely.
So that sounds great in theory, but how do we actually, make that happen in classrooms?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
And Dr. Knopf points out that a lot of the traditional ways we evaluate teachers, they just don't really work that well.
Okay.
So think about those quick walkthroughs that principals do in classrooms or evaluations that are based on this thing called the Danielson rubric.
Okay, yeah.
It's this framework that a lot of schools use, and it lists out all these different things that teachers are supposed to be good at.
Okay.
But here's the thing. Studies show that 97% of teachers are rated as proficient or higher using these methods.
97%. Wait, so does that mean we've got this teacher quality thing figured out?
Well, not quite.
Okay.
That number, it can be kind of misleading.
Okay.
If almost every single teacher is getting top marks, then the evaluation system isn't really telling us much, right?
Right.
It's not helping us pick out the truly awesome teachers, the ones who are really going above and beyond.
Okay.
And it's not helping us spot the ones who might be struggling and could use some extra support.
I see, yeah.
And another thing that doesn't really work? Tying teacher evaluations to student test scores.
Right.
That's just not fair.
Yeah, there are so many other things that affect how kids do on tests.
Right, exactly. There are so many factors outside of a teacher's control, like their home life, their resources, all sorts of things.
Yeah.
So you can't just blame the teacher if the test scores aren't great.
So if the traditional ways aren't working, what's the answer?
Well, Dr. Knopf says we need a totally different approach, a more holistic one.
Yeah.
And he lays it all out in what he calls the 4 pillars of teacher preparation.
Ooh, 4 pillars. I like that.
Yeah, it's catchy.
Okay, so in this deep dive, we're going to focus on the first 2 pillars, right?
Right. Hiring and orientation.
Okay, so let's start with hiring. Dr. Knopf says it all begins with clarity. Schools need to know exactly what they're looking for in a teacher before they even start looking.
Exactly. It's about being super specific about the skills and qualities that are important for their school and their students. And he says you got to use language that is clear, observable, and measurable.
Okay, so what does that mean?
So instead of saying something vague like, we want a teacher who's passionate, you got to ask, can this candidate actually show me that they can manage a classroom effectively?
Okay.
Or can they adjust their teaching to meet the needs of different types of learners?
Okay.
Start getting specific.
Yeah, so instead of hoping they'll just magically be good at everything, you actually look for evidence that they can do the things you need them to do.
Exactly.
It's kind of like you wouldn't go grocery shopping without a list, right?
Yep.
Otherwise, you end up with a bunch of random stuff and you forget the milk and eggs.
Exactly. And Dr. Knopf actually tells this great story about how he used to hire people for the school psychology program he ran at the University of South Florida.
Okay, what did he do?
Well, he had this really unique interview process.
Okay.
and he called it the carousel approach.
Okay, a carousel, like at a carnival?
Well, not exactly,
Right.
but it involved a lot of moving parts, and it was a multi-stage process that didn't just involve the professors.
Okay, so who else was involved?
He actually brought in current students.
Wow, that's interesting. So it wasn't just like a bunch of professors grilling the candidates behind a desk, right?
No, not at all.
Okay.
He had candidates do all sorts of things. They had to submit writing samples.
Okay.
They had to teach a mini lesson to a real group of students.
Right.
And they even just hung out with the current students to get a feel for the program and the culture.
Oh, that's cool.
Right. It was all about getting a complete picture of the
Oh,
candidate.
right.
Like, how do they communicate? Can they think on their feet? Would they actually fit in well with this specific program and its people?
Okay, yeah.
It was very intentional.
I like that.
Yeah.
So imagine applying that to teacher hiring.
Right.
Like, instead of just a quick 30-minute interview, you have this whole process that really dives deep into their skills and how they'd actually interact in the classroom.
Right. It gives you a much better sense of whether they're the right fit for your school.
Yeah, it's that real-world evaluation that Dr. Knopf is talking about.
Exactly. And it might seem like a lot of work, but Dr. Knopf argues that it's totally worth it in the long run.
Okay, why?
Well, think about it.
Okay,
A bad hire can really mess things up.
okay, yeah.
It can impact the students, the other teachers, the whole school climate.
Totally.
And the costs of dealing with an ineffective teacher,
Yeah.
like giving them extra support, maybe going through disciplinary procedures, or even just having to replace them, those costs, they really add up.
Right.
And they can be way more than the time and effort you put into a really good hiring process up front.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's an investment, you know.
Okay, so, but what if a school does all this?
Right.
They put all this effort into hiring, they set up this amazing carousel interview system, and they still can't find the perfect candidate.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like there's just this endless supply of incredible teachers just waiting around to be hired.
Right. It's a real challenge. And Dr. Knopf gets that.
Okay.
He suggests a few options for those situations where you just can't find the ideal person.
Okay, like what?
Well, one option is to hire someone temporarily
Okay.
while you keep looking for a permanent teacher.
Okay, yeah.
Another idea is to maybe reassign a current teacher who might be a better fit for that position.
Okay, that makes sense.
And sometimes, he says, it might even be necessary to just leave the position open for a year if you really can't find someone who's a good fit.
Oh, wow. So it's really about finding the best solution, even if it's not like the perfect scenario.
Exactly. It's about prioritizing quality over convenience.
Yeah, I like that. And then once you've got those awesome teachers, you got to set them up for success, right?
Right. That's where orientation comes
Yeah,
in.
that's the second pillar.
Exactly. And this is where a lot of schools, they just kind of drop the ball.
Oh, yeah.
Orientation can't be this, like, overwhelming info dump right before school starts.
Right. It shouldn't be like a million forms and policies thrown at them all at once.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It needs to be planned out carefully and systematically.
Okay.
And Dr. Knopf says it needs to be functional.
Okay, what does that mean?
It means making sure new teachers feel supported and prepared to actually walk into their classrooms and do their jobs well.
Yeah, they need to feel confident, not overwhelmed.
Exactly. And what's cool is that Dr. Knopf doesn't just say, here's what you should cover in orientation. He actually gives advice on how to present all that information effectively.
Okay, how so?
So think about it. Would you learn best from just a giant binder full of policies and procedures?
Oh, gosh, no.
Me neither. He recommends using lots of different formats to match different learning styles.
Oh, okay, like what?
So you could use written materials, but also webinars, small group discussions, and even just dedicated time for new teachers to ask questions and connect with mentors.
Yeah, like a mix of everything.
Exactly. Keep it engaging and relevant.
So what are some of the specific topics that should be covered?
Well, Dr. Knopf gives a pretty long list, but some of the key things are, of course, school policies and procedures,
Okay.
but also things like technology resources, safety protocols, curriculum and instruction guidelines, and how discipline works at the school.
Right, all the important stuff.
Yeah, the nuts and bolts. But then he also emphasizes this other really crucial part,
Okay, what's that?
introducing new teachers to the school's specific culture and values, and any special programs or initiatives they need to know about.
Oh, okay, so like if the school has a specific reading program or a new approach to teaching math.
Exactly. It's crucial to give new teachers a heads up about those things right away.
Yeah, even if they don't get the full training until later.
Right. Even if it's just a quick overview, it helps them understand the bigger picture.
Right. It's like getting a sneak peek of the playbook before the game starts.
Exactly. And remember that story about Dr. Knopf's own school psychology program orientation?
Mm-hmm.
He says that having a well-planned program made a huge difference. It created a strong sense of community, it got people collaborating, and ultimately, everyone was more successful.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it sends a really important message to those new teachers, like, we're invested in you. We want you to succeed.
Yeah, that's powerful. It's like, you're not alone in this.
Exactly. And it sets the stage for the next two pillars we'll be talking about, teacher induction and tenure, and then continuing teacher appointments and coaching.
Okay, yeah, those are the ones that focus on supporting teachers throughout their careers, right?
Exactly. It's not just about getting them in the door and then, like, good luck, figure it out on your own.
Right, that's not very helpful.
No, not at all.
So teacher induction and tenure, that's about giving new teachers guidance and mentorship during those first few years, right?
Right, those first few years can be really tough.
Oh, yeah.
So this might mean assigning them a mentor, giving them regular feedback and coaching, and creating chances for them to connect with other new teachers and share their experiences.
Okay, so it's like having a safety net and a roadmap as they navigate those early years.
Exactly. And then continuing teacher appointments and coaching, that's about supporting more experienced teachers.
Okay, so that they can keep getting better, stay engaged, and keep contributing to the school.
Exactly. This could involve things like leadership opportunities, specialized training, or even just regular check-ins with administrators to talk about their goals and challenges.
Okay, so it's recognizing that everyone, no matter how experienced they are, can benefit from support and feedback.
Exactly. Professional development, it's a journey, not a destination.
I like that. So it sounds like Dr. Knopf is really describing a school system where teacher development is just a natural part of the culture.
That's a great way to put it. It's not an afterthought. It's just how things are done.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about what schools and districts can do, but what about you, the listener? Where do you fit into all of this?
That's a great question. Whether you're a teacher, an administrator, a parent, or just someone who cares about education, you have a role to play.
Okay, so how can we support teachers and make sure they have what they need to be successful?
Well, you can advocate for policies that make teacher development a priority.
Okay.
You can volunteer your time to mentor new teachers or support your local school.
Okay. Yeah.
And you could always just take a moment to tell the teachers in your life how much you appreciate them.
Oh, yeah, that's so important. Just a simple thank you can go a long way.
Absolutely. Let them know you see their hard work and dedication.
Because at the end of the day, teachers are the backbone of our education system.
They're the ones shaping the minds of the next generation.
Exactly. And they deserve our respect, our gratitude, and our support.
Absolutely. So we've covered a lot in this deep dive.
Yeah, we have. So let's just quickly recap those key takeaways.
Okay, sound good.
First, schools need to be crystal clear about what they want in a teacher.
Right.
And they need to use a really strong hiring process to find those teachers.
Exactly. No more rushed interviews or vague job descriptions.
Second, orientation is super important for setting new teachers up for success.
It's all about creating a welcoming and supportive environment.
Yeah, where they feel prepared and ready to rock their classrooms.
Exactly. And finally, teacher development, it's an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
It needs continuous support and investment from schools, districts, and, of course, the teachers themselves.
Right. So Dr. Knopf, he put it really well in his blog post.
Oh, yeah. What did he say?
He said schools need to tell their new hires, we care about you as a person and a professional. Your success is our success.
Oh, I love that.
Right. It's such a powerful message.
It really shows that they value their teachers.
Yeah, and it makes it clear that everyone's in this together.
It's about creating a culture of shared responsibility and growth.
Totally. And it reminds us that when we invest in teachers, we're really investing in our kids, our communities, and our future.
That's the big picture, right?
Yeah. So if you're involved in education in any way, we really encourage you to think about these ideas.
Yeah, think about how you can put them into practice in your own school or community.
Right. What steps can you take to support teachers, advocate for their needs, and create a culture of continuous improvement?
Because when teachers thrive, students thrive.
And when students thrive, our communities thrive.
Exactly. It's all connected.
It really is.
It's really about teachers taking ownership of their own growth.
You know, so it's not just showing up and doing the same thing every year.
No, not at all. The best teachers I've seen, they're always learning, always trying to get better at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, Okay, how can I make this lesson even more engaging? Or what new research is out there that could help me reach my students better? They're curious.
Yeah, they're not afraid to try new things.
Exactly. And they're open to feedback. They don't get defensive when someone suggests a different approach.
So I guess that can look different for every teacher, right? Like maybe one teacher wants to take a course and another wants to go to a conference or read some research articles.
Absolutely. There are so many ways to keep learning and growing as a teacher. It's about finding what works for you and what fits your interests.
Mm-hmm. And I imagine it also means speaking up for yourself. Like if you know there's something you need to learn or a skill you need to develop, you got to be comfortable going to your principal or whoever and saying, hey, I need some help with
Oh,
this.
definitely. Teachers need to be their own advocates.
Yeah,
No one else knows their needs better than they do.
right.
And schools need to create a culture where teachers feel comfortable doing that, where they feel supported and encouraged to seek out the professional development they need.
So it sounds like it's all about building this culture of constant improvement where everyone's working together to make teaching and learning better.
Exactly. And, collaboration is a huge part of that. Teachers can learn so much from each other,
Right.
sharing strategies and resources and best practices. It's like building a team.
Yeah, like a community of learners where everyone is supporting each other.
Exactly. And that brings us back to Dr. Knopf's last two pillars, teacher induction and tenure, and then continuing teacher appointments and coaching.
Okay, so these are all about making sure that support and collaboration continue throughout a teacher's career.
Exactly. So teacher induction and tenure, that's really about giving new teachers a strong foundation and lots of guidance during those first few years when everything feels so new and overwhelming.
Right. Because let's face it, those first few years can be really tough.
Oh, yeah. It's a steep learning curve.
Hmm.
So this might mean assigning new teachers a mentor or a coach, someone they can go to with questions and get advice from.
Hmm.
It might mean giving them regular feedback on their teaching, helping them identify areas where they're doing well and areas where they can grow.
Okay.
And it also means creating opportunities for them to connect with other new teachers, to share their struggles and successes, and just know that they're not alone in this.
Right. It's like having a support system, a network of people who get it.
Exactly. And then continuing teacher appointments and coaching that focuses on more experienced teachers.
Okay, so how does that work?
Well, it's about making sure that even teachers who've been doing this for a while still feel challenged and supported, and that they have opportunities to keep learning and growing.
Hmm.
So this might look like giving them leadership roles within the school, or providing them with specialized training in a particular area,
Okay.
or it could be as simple as having regular check-ins with their principal to talk about their goals and their challenges and how the school can support them.
So it's really about recognizing that professional development, it's not a one-time thing. It's something that should continue throughout a teacher's entire career.
Absolutely. And it's about creating a system where teachers feel valued and appreciated, and where they know that their growth and development matters.
So it's like Dr. Knopf is saying, it's
Wow.
not just about getting teachers in the door, it's about investing in them and supporting them so they can be the best teachers they can be.
Exactly. And that benefits everyone, the teachers, the students, the whole school community.
Right. So we've talked a lot about what schools can do to support teachers, but what about the rest of us? How can we as individuals help to improve teacher equality?
That's a great question. And it's important to remember that we all have a role to play in this, whether you're a teacher yourself, an administrator, a parent, or just someone who cares about education.
So what can we do?
Well, for starters, we can advocate for policies that put teacher development front and center. Make sure our elected officials know that this is a priority for us.
Okay.
We can also support our local schools by volunteering our time or donating resources. Teachers are always in need of extra hands and materials.
Yeah. And we can just take a moment to thank the teachers in our lives. Let them know that we see their hard work and that we appreciate their dedication.
Exactly. Sometimes a simple thank you can mean the world to a teacher.
It's true, because at the end of the day, teachers are the ones who are shaping the minds of future generations.
They're the ones who are inspiring our kids to learn and grow and become the best versions of themselves.
And they deserve our respect, our gratitude, and our unwavering support.
Absolutely. So we've covered a lot of ground today. But before we wrap up, let's take a moment to recap those key takeaways.
Okay, sounds good.
First, schools need to be super clear about what they're looking for in a teacher, and they need to use a robust hiring process to find those teachers.
Right. No more settling for good enough. We need to be intentional about finding the best of the best.
Exactly. And second, orientation can't just be an afterthought. It's a crucial opportunity to set new teachers up for success and make them feel welcome and supported.
Right. It's about creating a positive first impression and laying the foundation for a strong and successful career.
And finally, teacher development. It's not a one-time event. It's an ongoing journey that requires continuous support and investment from schools, districts, and the teachers themselves.
Right. So Dr. Knopf, he said something that really resonated with me. He said that schools need to communicate to their teachers, especially their new hires, that we care about you as a person and a professional. Your success is our success.
Ah, that's lovely. It really speaks to the importance of building strong relationships and creating a culture of shared responsibility.
Yeah, it's about recognizing that everyone in the school community is in this together.
And that when we invest in our teachers, we're ultimately investing in our students and our future.
It all comes down to creating a system where every teacher feels valued, supported, and empowered to do their best work.
And where every student has the opportunity to reach their full potential.
Exactly. So there you have it, folks, our deep dive into teacher quality and hiring, inspired by the 40th anniversary of A Nation at Risk.
We've explored the challenges, the recommendations, and hopefully some pathways to creating real lasting change.
We know it was a lot to take in, but we hope this episode has given you some food for thought. Maybe even spark some ideas for how you can make a difference in your own school or community.
And if you're feeling inspired to learn more, we encourage you to check out Dr. Knopf's full blog post. We'll include a link in the show notes.
It's a great resource for anyone who's passionate about improving education and supporting our amazing teachers. And it all comes back to, making sure that teachers feel like they're part of a team, that they're supported and appreciated.
Absolutely. And that's what leads to better outcomes for everyone. Teachers, students, the whole community.
Yeah, totally. So there you have it. That's our deep dive into teacher quality and hiring, all inspired by the 40th anniversary of A Nation at Risk.
We've talked about the challenges, what needs to change, and hopefully giving you some ideas for how to make things better.
Yeah, it was a lot of information, but we hope it gets you thinking.
Maybe even gave you some inspiration for how to make a difference in your own school or community.
And if you want to dig even deeper, we definitely recommend checking out Dr. Knopf's full blog post.
Yeah, it's a great read for anyone who's passionate about making education better and giving teachers the support they need.
We'll put a link to it in the show notes.
Perfect.
Before we wrap up, I just wanted to go back to something Dr. Knopf said that really stuck with me.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
It was that idea of schools needing to tell their teachers, especially the new ones, we care about you. We want you to succeed. Your success is our success.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. It's so simple, but it's so important.
It really is. It's like that's the foundation of a great school culture.
Totally. It's about respect and recognizing everyone's value.
Yeah, and it shows that they're not just cogs in a machine. They're valued members of a team.
And when teachers feel that way, it creates such a positive environment for everyone.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, we want to thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the world of education.
It's been a great conversation.
It has, and we hope you'll tune in again next time for another fascinating look at a topic that matters.
Until then, keep learning, keep asking questions, and keep pushing for the kind of education system we all deserve.
Because together, we can make a difference.
We can.
Thanks for listening.